Oh yeah, DoDonPachi DoJ baby, on Switch, DX version, that must mean deluxe, right? Here we go, here. Huh? Okay, jokes aside, something I think is absolutely key to keep in mind when talking about this game is that this is a port of a flip phone version of DoJ. Not smartphone, flip phone. In other words, this is not and was never going to be anything close to a full cream port of DoDonPachi DaiOuJou, and there is absolutely no point treating or responding to it as such. But even with that proviso, we still want to ask ourselves, is this fun? Is this enjoyable? Is this worth playing? And my answer to those questions is an absolutely resounding yes. Now, when you start the game, if you do what I did and just jump right in, you're likely going to get a bit of a surprise. Where are the bullets, you're going to be wondering. But this is, at least in part, because the game is set up to launch on easy mode. And that is easy mode for a game where movement was controlled using a number pad with shots using the 0 hash and star keys. Move on to normal mode and yeah, the bullets are still a lot more sparse than you're probably used to, but ramp things up to hard, and while you won't be facing anything like an actual hard mode, you will start to find something far more engaging. If that's still not enough, there is a secret code, left, left, down, 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 left, 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 left on the title screen, that unlocks a special difficulty mode that I believe is supposed to represent a second loop, and that really will provide a bit of challenge. And if that was included in the original phone version, it's highly, highly impressive, because you most definitely will not be asking where are the bullets while playing on this mode. So in other words, there is some challenge here, you just have to dig a little to find it. But what about playing the game itself? How does that feel? Well, it feels pretty okay. Again, keeping in mind it's a flip phone port. Your movement is undeniably slow, and there is a little bit of sluggishness to things, but that's mitigated by the relative ease of most of the game. You have the same systems you'll be used to from the real game, with a standard shot, a focus shot, and a bomb mapped to 3 different buttons, with power-ups, extra bombs, and purple bees that grant you a hyper attack, popping in periodically as you play. It is a real shame you can't remap the controls with the normal shot and focus shot buttons being opposite each other, instead of next to each other as I'm sure most people prefer, but this is something you can get used to fairly quickly. The game has also retained the chaining scoring system, giving it far more replay value than I was expecting, and of course the hidden B pickups are there to be uncovered and collected too. This replay value is further extended by a feature I really wasn't expecting to see, namely online leaderboards separated by difficulty and ship type. The game offers no continues either, meaning these boards offer a level playing field, and you can already see some people have got to grips with the game very properly and are posting up big scores. There is also an unlockable boss rush mode and a level select, 2 features never to be sniffed at. In terms of presentation, I think the game does a pretty great job. In fact, for a flip phone game, I think it's nothing short of incredible. In terms of both the backgrounds and music, this is immediately identifiable as DoDonPachi. Yes, it offers up stripped down imitations of each, of course it does, but at the danger of sounding like an IGN reviewer, it still feels like DoDonPachi. The only complaint I have here is the sound effects, with the developers seemingly having taken the phrase popcorn enemies a little too literally and sampled the sound of actual popcorn popping for their explosions. Now, when I saw this announced, my most optimistic hope was that this would be a nifty little curiosity. And it is that, but it's also gone beyond that expectation and is actually a really fun game in its own right. When I reviewed R-Type Final 2, I asked what reaction that game might have received if it weren't for the famous names and ships. I'd ask the same question here, but in this case, I'd give a far more positive answer. If this had been dropped on the eShop for the equivalent of about $3 by some obscure little indie developer, I don't think there would be a single person who'd pick it up and be disappointed. The only reason to be disappointed is because it's not the real DoJ, but since Gmod are specifically focused on bringing flip phone titles to modern systems, that's an extremely unfair criticism to level at this. The original game was a thoroughly admirable attempt to recreate a cave game on very limited hardware, and this Switch port is both a fun game to pick up and also a very worthwhile piece of preservation of one of the more obscure releases in an already obscure area of the video game industry. For a flip phone game, this is incredibly impressive stuff. on a proper console, of course, it doesn't match up to titles developed for modern hardware, and it's not something you're going to be sinking dozens of hours into, but it's still a really good time, and I think in a case like this you do have to take price into account, and at £3, I would very much recommend this to anyone curious and give it an 8 out of 10. Make sure you go in with your eyes open, and if you do that, I'm sure you will find a lot to admire here. As you can probably tell, I've been very pleasantly surprised by this title, and I'm pretty sure there's also a similar version of Ketsui kicking around, so I hope we'll have a chance to try that out before too long as well. Thanks everyone, as ever, for watching. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.